Yeah, I think we had a little bit of a roller coaster of a game, and I think our team we try to do all the right things in all the right moments consistently throughout periods, and we get a lot of pucks to the net. And I think it's up to us, and self included, making sure those pucks are always on net and not too far left or too far right, and giving us an opportunity to bear down on those goals. And yeah, I know goals for us aren't coming as plentiful as other teams are getting, but I think for us, it's just we're going to win games pretty close margins. So I think for us, just finding ways to bear down on second chances and create second chances and third chances for our team.
Well, you mentioned there kind of creating some more second and third
Hmm.
chances. Like, is there something in mind that you guys have as to how to create those extra chances?
Yeah, I mean, I think the biggest thing for us is making sure pucks get to the net. I think making sure it hits the net first. It sets them up for a breakout if you're, hitting high and wide all the time, or, missing the net. Yeah, and sometimes just putting pucks right on top of that blue paint. Like, there's so many bodies there, it's going to go off a foot or off another person's stick. And hopefully all of us crashing down on the net come out on top of it and be able to put that puck in the back of the net. So I think that's where we start.
You got to see Kaylee last season as a teammate, and now this season playing
Hmm.
against her. What stands out to you about her goaltending, and what makes her so difficult to beat?
Yeah, she's an incredible person, one, and she's also an incredible athlete. I think her athleticism is one thing that helps her get, handling pucks, seeing pucks. I think she's just very dynamic. She becomes like a six attacker out there for her teammates and her team. And yeah, she's just very calm, cool, collected in the back of the net. She's been a steady rock for those guys. So yeah, it's been cool to see her, grow and be really successful with her team right now.
Emma, you've got a handful of games now in this league under your belt. How have you felt your progression here early on in your career?
Yeah, I think getting better every game. Certain things I want to improve on, but I feel like I'm adjusting fairly well. And I mean, I love playing, and playing with my teammates makes it even better. So yeah, like I said, a couple things I got to adjust and get better at. But for the most part, I feel pretty comfortable.
For Ella, when you talk about some of those scoring struggles, do the coaches talk to you and the other defenders about jumping up at the rush more in the middle of the game, or is that something you trust, kind of your own judgment
Yeah, I
on?
think you trust our own judgment. I think when you look at our defensive core, we have some pretty offensive gifted players, and I think joining that rush, it just creates an extra opportunity for us to get pucks to the net, like I've been saying. And yeah, I mean, when you look at someone like Renata Fast with a lot of speed and skill like she has, I think she's able to bring those pucks to the net. And Sav and Callie being really good at being able to get those pucks through. So yeah, I think between us all, we are doing our best to try and jump in the rush and be another attacker.
And Emma, what would you say is the biggest adjustment for you about a third of the way in with the extra level?
Yeah, I think just the speed of it, knowing where the puck is going before you get it. That's one thing that I've been focusing on, but also just making sure your passes are crisp and good every time. It's winning your battles, but for the most part, just the speed and making sure you know where the puck is going.
For either of you, a tough opponent in Colton Kova. She scored now 4 goals against you in 2 games. What makes her so tough to defend?
I think she is, obviously a really skilled player, big body, but we got to find ways to, I guess, defend that. Yeah.
Yeah, I would agree. I think she's got a physical presence out on the ice, and I think she's found ways to put pucks in the back of the net. And I think for us, eliminating that the best we can in the defensive zone, not giving her time and space. I think when you take away all those factors, it makes it more difficult on her to get pucks to the net. So I think that's something we should do.
Emma, you've had some time now with Maggie and Claire on your wings. What have you liked about your line with those two with you?
Yeah, I mean, they're both very, very smart players. Maggie is super fast, so it's been fun to play with her on the wing. But they're both, I mean, really dynamic players and make it easy for me. Yeah, I've really enjoyed playing with them.
And Ella recently here getting paired back again with Renata. Like, where do you think she's at in her progression coming back from injury and just kind of getting settled in the season that has kind of been stop-start for her?
Yeah, I think personally, I think she looks like she never left the game. She's super dynamic, and I think when she has a little bumper bruise somewhere, I think that doesn't really stop her from what she does really well. And her biggest attribute is, her speed, and it doesn't look like she's taking a day off the ice. So it's pretty cool to play with her. I think she keeps me fast as well. We both like to play offensively and create for our team. And I think with her trusting that I can do the defensive side when she wants to play in the offensive and vice versa, and just knowing where she's going to be in support systems. So I think just knowing that part has been super fun having her back.
I know you've been teammates with her for a long time here, but getting to see her at this point in your career, day in, day out now as her teammate, as a pro, like, is there anything new you've learned about Renata on the ice here recently, getting to play with her again this season?
Yeah, it's funny. I think when I first came out of college, she was the one that I reached out to and kind of threw myself under her wing, I would say. I asked her lots of questions when it came to ice times and stuff like that. And being with her now as a pro, I think she's day in and day out, she does everything right. She's upstairs doing extra treatment or extra physio, what she needs. I think she does every lift with 100%. She practices the way she plays, and I think that's something that I hope to continue into my everyday too. I think when you practice with pros or practice with someone like Renata, even Blair Turnbull, I think between the two of them, they're doing all the right things consistently day in and day out, and they're really good leaders in that respect. And for myself, I think you have to follow suit with it. I think you're expected to do the same thing, act the same way, and I think ultimately that's what makes you a pro, when you're able to show up every day and be consistent and be 100% or whatever your 100% is that day. I know sicknesses come around or injuries like we've seen, but they're still being a pro in whatever way they need to and whatever way they can.
It's honestly, I said to them after, just unacceptable at a professional level to manage the puck the way we did, pass the puck the way we did, and I thought we had some quality opportunities, and then, just some of the shot selection and just missing either high or wide, just not things you would expect at this level right now. Sorry to be a damper, but just needs to be better.
I was wondering, last start for Elaine, it wasn't necessarily how she would have wanted it to go, but this game, obviously a close game. How do you feel about her ability to bounce back after having a start like that previously?
Yeah, I think it's really good. I thought she played well and gave us a chance. And then, I think we recognized that her last start was not great. But you also understand that, she did really well in that game in Montreal, gave us an opportunity to win that one. So you don't want, just like tonight, right? You don't want any one-off situation to completely, change your perception of who they are as a player. And we knew she would find a way to get back into it. We really considered playing Kirky again tonight just because she played well in the Hamilton game. But we really don't think that Chuli's lost any confidence from any of our teams, so we decided to go with her tonight, and I'm glad we did because she really answered that for sure.
And then I also just wanted to get your reaction to her diving save as she was headed off to the benches as she was pulled.
Yeah, great decision. We were going to pull her. I love that she was reading the play as well as she was coming. There was a quick turnover, and she made the adjustment. So it gives a little excitement to the crowd, and probably adds a couple more gray hairs to my head.
You mentioned off the top some of your frustrations from this game. Is there anything or any areas that you think that stems from coming into this game, like attention to detail, competitive? Like, where do you think those areas kind of stem from in terms of your frustrations of this game?
Yeah, it's tough to kind of pinpoint. We didn't practice 2 days ago. We had an optional. Like, we know there's a lot of sickness going on in our group right now, a lot of fatigue. So we gave sort of an optional day. A lot of the players that play a lot didn't skate in that optional, so then today's game day skate had high numbers. We know historically it's really hard to have good jump when you don't skate the day before a game, but you also got to manage that. If you're fatigued and you're sick, you still got to, give people a break, and sometimes that's one reason why you can be a little bit sloppy when you come back after kind of a day off. A lot of it is just pride in the little details too. Like, if you don't take pride in the smallest of plays in this league, it's going to cost you. Like, when you look at the goal they scored against us, Generally a low to high play with a little bit of a sifter through. Everybody's looking for box outs, and we miss an assignment and leave someone wide open to get a little stick on it. So, any little detail can cost you in this game, and you got to take pride in the smallest of details. You can see it a lot too. Like, we iced a lot of pucks. And sometimes the skilled play at this level isn't the skilled play on an entry toe dragging someone. The skilled play is getting a stick or a body on that hard play to get a puck through the neutral zone. So that's the skilled stuff that we got to get better at. When you ice the puck that many times and you're just putting yourself in defensive zone face-off situations, it's the game tilts against you pretty quick.
How does playing a goaltender like Osborne, who plays the puck so much, how does that impact your forecheck and kind of all three layers of the ice afterwards?
Yeah, I think she's one of the best in the world at playing the puck, and you don't want to dump pucks against her. You want to, a lot of coaches will use the term deposit. You got to make better placement with your puck. If you put it in behind her, she's just going to get the breakout started. If you do put it and she gets it, and you got a good forecheck going, you got to be strategic on how you take away her options. It can work in your favor. A goalie that plays the puck, if you forecheck properly, you can force her to make plays into the middle, and sometimes there's turnover and transition there. But I just thought we were putting it to her without purpose, and then not necessarily forechecking with the legs that we need to forecheck to put her under pressure. So made it probably, she's good anyway, but we made it easy on her for sure.
And to the point about just kind of your frustrations of this game, but also some of the goal scoring issues, is there any kind of lineup changes that you can look to make, or things that you have in mind going forward, or are you pretty content with the top six kind of going and figuring things out themselves?
And I know I don't think I used the term frustrated. I know you've said I'm frustrated. I'm not. It's not necessarily frustration. It's maybe I expect more from this group. So if that comes off in frustration, I apologize. It's just a higher expectation, and I think they should have that, and I believe they do have that from themselves. So I'm also not one to get too, like, a lot of times what happens is when you see a period, you see 2 periods of that, sometimes you come out in the third and you just juggle things to juggle. It doesn't mean I've lost confidence in any one of those players. You're just juggling sometimes to see if you can light a bit of a spark and get some chemistry. Often what happens is if you are going to, maybe continue to juggle, it's usually from the spark that maybe was ignited in the third period. I didn't see anything necessarily magical in the third period. I thought we had better energy. The one thing that I'm curious about is where a player like Dalton fits. She's so responsible with the puck. She makes good decisions with it. I think she's got a sneaky offensive side. So I've kind of, every time we juggle, we try to get her in a good situation to see if some chemistry can form. I think she's definitely someone that deserves to play up the lineup if we can get her in a situation like that. And then, depth-wise, I think like a Van Weren has played a fourth-line center role. And although that's probably and maybe where she fits right now at this point in her career, I do think she's shown some energy and some ability to possibly play up the lineup, but I'm not sure if she's like an offensive threat or anything like that. But so we're comfortable with generally where people are replaced, but a little bit of movement from time to time doesn't hurt.
I know you said it's not frustration on your part, but what's the mood like in the locker room? I feel like the players are getting a little used to being asked about the scoring struggles all the time. And I'm sure, obviously, it's not fun for them, but what would you say the mood is like in the locker room?
I'm not. I don't think there's any real concern there. I think there's some frustration when you get shut out. I think our group is not necessarily going to be a high dynamic offensive team. But I think if we play the right way, we'll be able to contribute offensively. I don't necessarily foresee this team being offensively the same as the 2 previous versions of the Toronto team. But I think there was a stat that came up on during the game today that I think we're the second most goals for the first 3 seasons of the PWHL. So I don't think we're completely snake bitten yet. I think we're high on the expected goals. We're getting quality chances, even like a Natalie Spooner up until, I don't know what today's stats did for her, but I think she was third in the league in expected goals for. We just got to find ways to bury them when we get those opportunities. And I think also, maybe some of the opportunities we get, we got to find ways to upgrade it a little bit by maybe looking off to the weak side. You look at that 6-on-5 situation. I mean, there's 3 quality scoring chances in that. We got to find a way to put that away. So right now, it's maybe not falling, but a lot of times you get your 5-on-5 confidence helps your power play, and then your power play gives you confidence 5-on-5. When you're, at this point in the season and you have 2 power play goals, sometimes it's a personnel thing, sometimes it's a structural thing, sometimes it's a confidence thing. And I think it's actually we're not getting enough power play opportunities to get any reps, and that's more of a 5-on-5 thing, because if you try to score the majority of your goals on entry, you don't wear people down with offensive zone play and wear them down in defensive zone play, so you don't draw as many penalties. Power play is where you get that confidence and that swagger from. So it's just a big, perfect storm at times that we got to try to sort out to get us going offensively.
So you've got a week off now, I think.
Yeah.
So what will be the big kind of points of emphasis in film or practice?
A lot of it will be offensive stuff, but there's a lot of defensive stuff that we got to continue to tidy up. But I would like to see us just, like, some of the point shot decisions got to be better. We got to make sure we're filtering some pucks through and getting sticks on things. It's very stagnant right now. It's a D walking across the blue line with one screen. We need some flash screens at the middle distance to create some chaos. We just got to be more dangerous when we get some pucks in the offensive zone. And then as far as entries are concerned, I've always said this, I don't know where the quote came from, but, be prepared to score off the rush, but don't be in a rush to score. So if the rush is there and there's an opportunity, you take it, but recognize when there's no offense in your rush situations, and then just be comfortable possessing it and try to wear people down. You see good offensive teams, they have those good offensive shifts. They get a line change, get the second line out, and you're on the bench just going, a goal's coming, a quality chance, or a penalty. That's generally, when you're rolling like that. We're just not there right now.
You mentioned expected goals. How much stock do you put into those as a coach? Have you had a lot of teams where there's been a big discrepancy there?
I take a little. You got to take it all a little bit with a grain of salt. It depends. Sometimes you use it when you need to send a message. Sometimes it's a positive message you need to send. Sometimes stats will back a negative message that you have to send. But I think you got to be really, really careful. Depends on who's taking the stats, who's collecting the stats. There's a lot of discrepancy with a lot of the stats that we receive.
I don't want to be the one who makes you lose your voice, so I'll keep this quick. You mentioned the illness going through the team. Are you at the start of that, or do you know, are you in the middle, towards the end?
I would say we're pretty much at the end of it.
Yeah.
Middle to end for sure. Yeah. And I think they'll be fine. It's just, when you're this time of year, you're traveling a lot, you're wearing down. I think every team's probably been through it.